Today, I'm Nestor LeConte with the Pacific Daily News. Here are our top stories from the PDN newsroom. A number of former federal properties near the AB Wonpat International Airport in Tiyan, including homes now in the hands of private owners, are now the site of upgrades and major construction work. Motorists will have noticed the most prominent project along the roadside, renovations of Tiyan homes, which used to be part military housing when the site was Naval Air Station. Several of the homes in the area have fallen in disrepair and been abandoned in the years since senators in 2004 passed a law returning the properties to ancestral landowners. But a number of those previously dilapidated homes, now under the ownership of one Stephen Wong, according to building permits from the Department of Public Works, have now been completely renovated and have fresh facades facing the roadside. Even more of the homes are apparently slated for upgrades. Though property owners declined to be interviewed, a DPW building permit was issued for the renovation of 13 of the two-story units at a cost of $89,000. In other news, Guam's political parties and elected officials on Monday reacted to the news that President Joseph Biden has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race amidst growing public calls by top Democrats for him to withdraw his candidacy. The Democratic Party of Guam said Guam delegates to the National Democratic Convention will pledge all their 12 votes to Vice President Kamala Harris to be the party's presidential nominee. Biden endorsed Harris. The 81-year-old president issued a one-page statement Sunday in Washington announcing his withdrawal from the race, while also sharing his administration's efforts at making the American economy the strongest in the world, lowering prescription drugs for seniors, and expanding affordable health care. The Democratic Party of Guam, in a statement, said they admire and respect Biden's decision to withdraw. And finally, the goal remains to open a temporary campus for Simon Sanchez High School by December, and Senator Roy Canata's Bill 32137 seeks to appropriate $7 million as part of the government of Guam's share of any federal emergency management agency funding for the project. A public hearing was held Friday on the bill, which would take the $7 million from fiscal 2024 general fund revenues in excess of the adopted level. Appropriations Committee Chairman Senator Joe S. Augustine said it would help to cover GovGuam's 10% of any FEMA funding that GDOE has requested toward the lease or construction of a temporary Sanchez High campus. Education Superintendent Eric Swanson testified in support of the funding measure, but asked that it be amended, quote, to lock up the money so it can only go to this particular project, he said. A couple of motions filed by Acting Chief Prosecutor Gloria L. Rudolph put a hold on the trial for Dr. Ugochukwu Akoma on Friday, but after a surprise letter from the alleged victim in the case, the trial may not go forward at all. Deanna Tyron, who self-identified as the alleged victim in the trial, sent a letter to Rudolph and to Attorney General Douglas Moylan. The lengthy letter starts with a formal request to dismiss the charges against Akoma. Copies of the letters were also sent to senators. Akoma, a family physician, was accused of groping a female patient and forcing the same patient to touch his groin area over his pants in October of 2021. He faced 2 counts of fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct, both as misdemeanors, as a result of the alleged incident. In other news, the top military leader in the Pacific, Admiral Samuel Paparo, was among the thousands of people who celebrated the landmark 80th anniversary of Guam's World War II liberation from Japanese occupation this weekend. He met with local officials on missile defense and other issues. Paparo, commander of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, was on Guam specifically to support and participate in the Liberation Day commemoration. That's according to Captain Rebecca Reberich, Director of Public Affairs and Outreach for IndoPacom. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, who met briefly with Paparo on Friday, said the admiral provided assurances that IndoPacom has the resources available to provide security, stability, and protection to Guam and the region. His visit was timely, as Admiral Paparo was on Guam to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Guam's liberation from Japanese occupation, the governor said in a statement on Monday. Admiral Paparo was firm in his commitment to applying the lessons the U.S. has learned from the past to ensure that IndoPacom strives to protect Guam and the entire Pacific region. And finally, one of the world's newest dinosaur species is named after Fotna, the goddess who helped create the Earth, according to CHamoru legend. The person behind the naming is Haviv Avrami CHamoru, whose family is from Barragata and currently a PhD candidate at North Carolina State University. He grew up in San Diego, California, but his Chamorro side of his family was a big part of his growing up, he said. So much of who I am today is so much based on my Chamorro roots, he said. It was what inspired him to name the newest dinosaur species he found during an excavation trip to Utah after the Chamorro creation legend. For more of these stories, go to GuamPDN.com and follow us on social media.